You kind of have an idea where to go, but you don't know exactly how to find your ideal target audience. That is what we're going to talk about today. You started that business, or you're in the process of starting a business, and a friend or a relative or maybe a consultant has told you that you need a business plan, business strategy, and you need to make sure that you're targeting the right demographic, the right target audience, the right people, the right customers, etc. So how do you go about actually generating a profile for those people so you know how to target them? Today, that is what I want to guide you through. We are going to go through part of my brand clarity session that I undertake with clients, which is a 3-part worksheet. But today we're just going to be focusing on one part, and that is, who is your audience? What this does is it helps me understand a client's target demographic. It also helps them gain clarity on who they want to precisely target. So without any further ado, we're going to crack straight into this and help you figure out how to target a specific demographic. So first things first, the first question that I ask clients is who they serve, and I try and get them to be as specific as possible and summarize it in 1 to 3 sentences. If you're not entirely sure, you want to make this person up, but be really specific. Come up with things like what house they live in, what car they drive, what their annual or monthly take home is, what kind of disposable income they have, whether they have kids, how many kids they have. It sounds really crazy to get that specific, but the more specific that you can be, the easier it will be to find these people and figure out where they are so that you can target them. The next part of defining your audience is figuring out and asking yourself what situation they are in that leads them to buy your product or your service. This might be difficult for a lot of you, especially if you are starting a new business or in the process of setting one up and you haven't had any customers yet. You don't always know how to clearly define those people. So for now, feel free to skip it and come back to that. The next part to this is, what position is this customer or client in now that they've used your product or service? If you can define the state of mind and the state that that person's in now that their problem is solved, it helps you backtrack a little bit so that you can define their struggles and their problems. Those two kind of go hand in hand with each other. Next to this is, what's important to this client or this customer and why? This helps you define the type of values that these people have. And essentially what you're doing, you're fleshing out a persona, a buyer persona, if you will, on the customers or the ideal clients. When we can start to define what's important to the ideal customer and client, we then begin to comprehend where their values and their measure of importance lays in contrast to our product or our service. If we can clearly define that, then it makes it easier to speak to those values as well as promote them from the brand and business side of things to the customer. It wouldn't make sense for you to focus on cost if cost isn't something that the customer or the client values, but the end result is held in a higher regard than the cost. Next, we want to think about the ideal words and possibly feelings that this customer or client would use to describe your product or your service. If we can put ourselves in the shoes of this person that we've created, start to understand how they would describe the service, the products, the feeling from what they've received or gained from it, we can then start to speak to those feelings and emotions and then start to target them specifically to appeal to these individuals. Ask yourself, what words would these ideal customers and clients use to sum up your brand from an outside perspective? What we're doing now is we're putting ourselves in the shoes of the ideal customer from an outside perspective and really rationalizing how they would describe what they see, what they feel, and how they interact with your brand. What this does is it takes you out of the emotional state of the branding, and it puts you more in the passenger seat so that you can begin to look at your brand from the outside as a buyer or a customer, and then start to describe how you believe they would feel or think about your brand. This next thing to think about is for those of you that have been in business for a while and you've had customers, Out of your previous customers and clients, which one specifically has been your favorite and why? The reason that this is so important is if you can pinpoint your favorite customer so far, there's certain attributes, certain traits, certain things about this person or these people that you love and you love serving. They might just be amazing people in general, or they might be diehard fans of your product. They always buy it. Whatever it may be, describe that person and write down the traits that make you so attracted to them as a favorite customer or favorite client. Because what this will do is help you target those types of individuals, and it will always be in the back of your mind when you're trying to target these individuals. Last but by no means least, what makes your business unique? I'm asking you what you specifically are doing differently that makes you unique. What do you care about? What are your values? What is your promise? There's gonna be something in every business where they hold something really passionately, really deeply in comparison to others. Or it might just be something really simple like time or cost effectiveness, the ability to save a customer money. If you were to write down a list of what your competitors do, you'll be able to find something that you do differently or you do better that will help distinguish who you are from a personality for your brand and help you drive that towards your ideal customers and clients. Again, like I said, this was from one of my brand clarity sessions that I do with clients. And what it does is it helps them get laser focused in on their brand. It helps me understand the strategy behind how we should design things moving forwards, how we should design the brand voice, the visuals, etc. This is just a small excerpt from that. It helps us begin to focus in on who their target audience is so that we can strategize and design around it. I promise you, if you sit down and you actually work through those questions, you'll have a much clearer picture in your mind of who your ideal customers are, and it'll start to open up doorways in your mind for how to actually target them.